You know that feeling when you actually want to change? Like you're genuinely excited to eat healthier, get up early, finally feel like your best self? You're not being forced, you're not doing it for someone else, you just want it. And then somehow it still doesn't stick. You skip one workout, suddenly the week feels ruined. You eat one thing off your plan and the spiral starts into screw it, I'll just start again on Monday. You keep saying you're gonna be consistent and you believe it. Nothing ever seems to stick long enough to feel like it's working. If you've ever felt like that, I want you to know right now that you're not broken, you're not lazy, and you're not lacking discipline. You're running on a pattern. I'm gonna walk you through exactly why this happens and how to finally break this cycle. And if any of this hits already, just know this is exactly why I created Rewired. It's not another wellness program, it's a system built for people who already want change. They just need a structure and accountability that works with their nervous system, not against it. I'll tell you more about it later, but just know it's here for you if you need it. So let's talk about why we can't stick to the habits we actually want. This is such a specific kind of frustration because it's not like you don't care, you do. It's not like you don't know what to do. You've read the books, downloaded trackers, maybe even done a challenge or two. But there's a huge difference between knowing the habit and integrating the habit. And most of us are taught to approach change in a way that completely backfires on us. Here's what I mean. We're taught that discipline means pushing through, that motivation is the key, that if you fall off, it's your fault. But the reality is that your brain isn't trying to ruin your life. It's trying to keep you safe. And anything unfamiliar, even if it's good for you, it's flagged as unsafe. So every time you try to do something new, your system resists it, not because you're broken. You haven't created safety around that change. Here's the truth no one talks about. Your habits are regulated by your nervous system, not your willpower. And this matters so much for the 20-something woman who's trying to build a life she actually loves, while also navigating career changes, confusing relationships, identity shifts, social pressure, and burnout. You're not just trying to drink more water and go to the gym. You're trying to rebuild yourself while life is constantly shifting under your feet. If you're overwhelmed, burnt out, anxious, or stuck in fight or flight, you're not going to crave the salad or the meditation or the gym. You're going to crave that thing that gives you that quick comfort, that immediate relief, or just a moment of escape. So how do we change that? Inside Rewired, I teach a 4-part method, not for forcing discipline, but actually creating the conditions that make habits sustainable. And I want to walk you through the core idea today. Let's use a familiar example. You tell yourself you're going to start working out, you make the plan, you pick the workouts, you buy the clothes, but then one day you're exhausted. You don't go. Your brain goes straight into, see? You can never stick to anything. And just like that shame spiral starts. The habit didn't break because of lack of motivation. It broke because your internal system wasn't aligned with the support you needed to make that habit feel possible on hard days. So instead of building habits from force, we build them from nervous system regulation, inner narrative writing, identity alignment, and structure built around your energy and lifestyle. Let me break each one down and show you how this applies to real life and how I guide my students through this inside Rewired. If your body is in constant survival mode, no habit will stick. That's because survival always overrides self-improvement. Think about it. Your brain is designed to prioritize short-term safety over long-term transformation. That's just how biology works. And this is why in week 2 of Rewired, we go deep into what it looks like to shift out of that state. I don't just tell you to meditate or journal. I walk you through actual practices to create calm and safety in your body. One exercise we do is visualization. I have my students close their eyes and imagine their most confident self. How does she walk? How does she speak? What daily habits does she have? And when they embody that in their body, even just for a moment, it creates an anchor of safety. We also add in small rituals like writing 3 affirmations daily, practicing a 5-minute self-love ritual, or ending the night with a grounding breath instead of scrolling. These might sound simple, but they're not random. They are nervous system regulators. They teach your body, you're safe here, you can expand, you can try new things. And once your nervous system feels safe, habits stop feeling like threats. They feel like extensions of you. Because here's the truth. When your body feels regulated, Going to the gym or cooking a nourishing meal no longer feels like climbing a mountain. It feels possible. You can't act like someone you still believe you're not, and most of us, especially women in our 20s, have internalized belief systems that are wildly unkind. If your inner voice is constantly telling you you're not consistent, you always give up, or you'll never be that girl, your brain listens. It treats that narrative as programming. That's why week 2 of Rewired is also about cognitive reframing. Every negative thought becomes an opportunity to shift the perspective. Instead of I always quit, the reframe is I'm learning how to build consistency step by step. I'll give you an example from one of my students, Dina. She joined Rewired at a point of her life where life felt chaotic. She had just gone through a major transition in school and relationships and was struggling to keep her head above water. Her self-talk sounded like this: you never follow through, you're failing again, why even try? But through the journaling prompts and weekly group reflections, Dina started catching those thoughts in real time. She learned how to stop in the moment, pause, and ask, what else could this mean? Instead of spiraling, she began meeting herself with compassion. And because of that, she actually started implementing the small habits. Not perfectly, but perfect isn't the goal. Consistency, enough that her identity shifted. She went from I'm someone who always quits to I'm someone who shows up for myself even in small ways. See, that's the power of narrative rewiring. Your thoughts literally shape your reality. So when you change the story, you change the outcome. Here's where real change happens. Most self-improvement fails because we're trying to add new habits on top of an old identity. We stop asking, what habits should I add? And start asking, who am I becoming? In week 3, when we bring in fitness and nutrition, I don't just hand out a workout plan or a meal prep list. I teach students how to see food and movement as acts of self-respect and devotion, not a punishment. We anchor it to identity. If you identify as someone who loves herself, then moving your body 3 times a week isn't a chore. It's a natural expression of that love. We even connect this to the yogic philosophy of niyamas, which I learned during my yoga teacher training in India. The niyamas are 5 principles for personal practices and self-discipline. And when you see your daily choices, your food, your workouts, your routines through this lens, they stop being boxes to check and start being ways of honoring who you're becoming. I'll share another student example. Kayla used to call herself lazy. She believed so deeply that it became her identity. But when we worked through identity visualization, actually imagining and embodying the version of herself who was grounded, consistent, and radiant, she realized something powerful. The word lazy had never been the truth. It was just a story she kept repeating, and once she aligned with the identity of I am a woman who shows up for herself, the habits followed. They became natural. Identity creates action, not the other way around. Now let's talk about structure. Most people think they need more discipline, when really, they just need a better system. In week 4 and 5 of Rewired, we work on habit deconstruction and environment shaping. I teach students the habit loop: cue, routine, reward. And we break down exactly where their autopilot is keeping them stuck. For example, boredom leads to scrolling. Stress leads to food. The habit isn't random, it's a loop. And once you see it for what it is, you can change it. We also do what I call energy leaks and obstacle reflections. Students identify where their energy is draining: the endless scrolling, the toxic conversations, the messy environments, and then we redesign around that. We literally build our routines to eliminate leaks and align with the person that they want to be. By week 5, we bring it all together with time blocking and system design, but not in the suffocating perfect schedule type of way. I remind them, structure is not a punishment. Structure is protection. Structure is what makes freedom possible. We design weekly planners around our real priorities: fitness, meals, self-care, rest, work, school, family. We build buffers for when life gets messy. And we track habits not to chase perfection, but to observe patterns. And we curate the environment, unfollowing accounts that drain them, choosing podcasts and playlists to inspire them, spending time with people who reflect who they're becoming. This is why my students stop winging it and actually feel in control of their days, because we create a structure that fits their energy instead of trying to force their energy into structure. And finally, in week 6, we lock it in. This is where so many programs fall short. They get you hyped up for a few weeks and then drop you without teaching you how to sustain it. But in Rewired, we integrate. We use tools like habit stacking, attaching a new behavior to one you already do. For example, after I brush my teeth, I'll write one line in my journal. That small stack builds identity and consistency. We also talk about bounce back. because you will fall off. That's part of being human. But instead of spiraling into shame, I teach students how to pause, normalize the dip, and return to one anchor habit that grounds them. Maybe it's journaling, maybe it's walking after meals, maybe it's drinking water. That single act can rebuild trust and momentum without pressure. And then we practice self-forgiveness, because most people don't fail because they fall off. They fail because they quit after they fall. In Rewired, we practice compassion, release perfectionism, and recommit with grace. That's how you build resilience. That's how you make it last. So when you look at this whole process, nervous system regulation, narrative rewiring, identity alignment, and energy aligned structure, what you see is not another quick fix, and it's not another challenge. It's a full system for rebuilding your habits, mindset, and routines from the inside out. If you're still listening, I want to speak to you directly. If you've tried every planner, every routine, every reset, and nothing seems to stick, if you keep falling off and blaming yourself even though you know you care, and if you're done feeling like discipline is this mountain you'll never climb, then maybe it's not about trying harder. Maybe it's about trying different. That's exactly why I created Rewired. It's a 6-week program designed to help you regulate your nervous system, rewire your self-talk, align your habits with your energy, and build a sustainable structure for long-term consistency. You'll get step-by-step guidance, live support, and the exact tools I've used with my clients and in my own life to break out of the all or nothing cycle and finally build real momentum. If this sounds like the missing piece, Rewired is just made for you. You can click the link below or DM me with more questions and just get started today. Remember, you're not lazy, you're not inconsistent, and you're not broken. You've just been building from survival, and now you get to build from support. Let's do it together. You're more than capable. Always remember to take deep breaths and live mindfully.